recap of the key points that we've raised in the presentations you've seen so far. So now we're going to have a recap on the British standards, the things we just learned, the key points. So for cribs and cradles for domestic use, remember, power tools can often cause sharp edges on bolts if the bits are worn or do not sit neatly in the bolt when it is used. You should therefore avoid using power tools when assembling cribs, cradles and cots as well. Remember, a small cut on a baby's tiny finger could affect the use of that finger for the rest of the baby's life, so it's a key consideration, this. Always use the correct fittings supplied. Never use a self-tapping screw where a bolt or nut should be used. And point out all the warnings on the instructions to the customer, especially the notes on fittings being tightened properly and regularly checked. Remember, the warnings are there for the customer, and because you have built the furniture, you've read them, not the customer, so it's imperative you point them out. Find out if the child is yet to be born or if it's a newborn baby. If so, fit the mattress base to the highest setting so it's easy for the parents to lift the baby in and out of the cot or cradle, and point out how to lower it when the child starts to stand up. If the child has already started standing, fit the mattress base to the lowest setting so it can't climb out or get out accidentally, and point out to the customer which of the above you have done and why. Now, children's beds. Cot beds and toddler beds, effectively all slats must be no more than 60mm apart, and there must be no gaps between the slatted base and the headboard of more than 25mm. Junior beds, instead of 60mm apart, it's 75mm apart between the slats. Never throw the instructions away because they're full of warnings and useful information that the parents might need. And it's your responsibility to point these out to the customer because they won't necessarily see them otherwise. A child could be on the top bunk and lean on one side, causing the bunks to try to separate. Therefore, it's not sufficient just to rely on the weight of the upper bunk to hold the two together. Beds are normally connected with dowels and screws or bolts which are inserted to secure them. These must be fitted properly as per the instructions. A child can be on the top bunk and lean on one side, causing the bunks to tip over. So if a bunk bed or high bed has attachments for the wall, these must be used. If they're not supplied, then this has probably passed this test and it is unlikely to happen. And as we discussed before, all slats must be fastened down no more than 75mm apart and no more than 25mm from the headboard and footboard. Beds manufactured to EN 747-2007 and a 2012 standard are still on sale and don't conform to these standards above. Now on to stability of storage furniture. If a bracket or anti-topple device is supplied, use it as indicated because it is necessary. Avoid using your own brackets because they might not be strong enough. And remember, many tenants are prevented from fixing things to the wall in their lease. If this is the case, you must highlight the issues. This is particularly pertinent for small children or children because they're the most at risk. So always advise, if you're not going to attach an item to the wall, never sit on the edge of the unit, never lean on the unit or its doors, never fling the doors or drawers open, avoid having multiple doors and drawers open at the same time, and never support yourself on a door or drawer when trying to reach something, and be careful opening the unit if it can be locked. Point these out to the customer and always try and get the item attached to the wall if it's been supplied with a bracket.